get solid, good advice from someone you can trust, because you're not thinking straight. You can't. You're grieving. You can't. You're not thinking straight. And just pause. Don't make any big decisions without thinking through the ramifications, and have someone going through and helping analyze it with you.
Do you want a wealthy retirement without worrying about money? Welcome to the Retire in Texas podcast, where you will discover how to enjoy your faith, your family, and your freedom in the state of Texas. And now, here's your host, financial advisor, author, and all-around good Texan, Darryl Lyons.
Hey, this is Darryl Lyons, CEO and co-founder of PAX Financial Group, and you're listening to Retire in Texas. This information is general in nature only. It's not intended to provide specific investment, tax, or legal advice. Visit paxfinancialgroup.com for more information. So today I have Haley Wall. She's a partner here at PAX and an advisor, and she does an incredible job working with our community. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'm super happy you're here. Now, you've been working with widows.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about the unique nature of working with widows? I mean, everyone can imagine the pain of loss, but tell us about your experiences so far working with widows.
I can tell you the thing that I enjoy the most about it is helping them through all of those unknown questions of, am I going to be okay financially? Do I have to go back to work? Do I have to move out of the house? Am I going to be able to send my kids to college? All of those questions have been really being a sounding board for those kind of questions.
Like a thinking partner?
Exactly, because they've lost their thinking partner. Or maybe the person that did most of the thinking in those spaces for them. Oftentimes, the gentleman is the financial person that is, not always, but oftentimes. And sometimes they, I have one widow that feels extremely strongly about honoring her husband's work and what he did to provide for her. And so she wants to always make sure that her money is being protected and not losing money, and it's growing, and that she's making wise decisions with it. She feels that weight, a responsibility of honoring his legacy.
Yeah, and you hear the word stewardship a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to be a good steward. I was reading this morning, this book called Splitting Heirs, and it said that 90% of all women will be single at one point in their lives.
After marriage, you mean, or just period?
Just at some point in their lives, losing their spouse,
Yes.
divorce, like 90% of all women. And I think about the responsibility of us, like thinking deeply about this topic and managing not only the financial side, but the emotional side. So how did you kind of start working with widows? Tell me how that worked out? Was it just Darryl saying you were going to work with widows?
I think it was, Darryl, you introduced me to Esther. You asked me to work with Esther Pipoli with Loss of Life Advocates. Yeah. And I went through her training to be a certified Lola advocate. But I actually have history of two really impactful examples of women that are in my life. My sister became a widow at age 32.
Oh my gosh.
Her husband died of cancer at 45, and my niece was 2 and my nephew was 5 at the time. And seeing her get taken advantage of, right?
Oh
She was in a fog, in a complete fog.
Yeah.
You're walking around like a zombie. You don't know what's going on. And she got taken advantage of. And I felt powerless to help her.
Yeah.
And then I had another friend who had been married for, I think they were married like 30 years, and she lost her husband to cancer as well. And I saw her also get taken advantage of. And these were both serious, extreme examples of bad things that can happen to widows because they're in such a vulnerable state. And so I really enjoy being the person that they can come talk to, that can help them navigate those things, that they trust to say, okay, this is going on. What do you think about that?
Like, did they get taken advantage of by people that knew them, like in the family, in the inner circle, or did somebody kind of like a financial advisor or somebody that sold them a bunch of stuff? Like,
no. One was friends came in and mooched off of her.
Yeah.
And then the other one was a romantic scam, that stinking internet thing where someone posed to be somebody that they weren't, and they
That's legit. I mean, Dark Side of Finance, I covered it on that podcast series that we did.
Yeah.
That's so crazy that happens and you're just lonely. Mm-hmm. And then Inner Circle. And then, of course, we also see every week, I share a story about a financial advisor in the marketplace. Widows are vulnerable. And, they tend to have liquidity because they might have got life insurance or something and retirement plan. That's the other thing.
And when the obituary is posted, sharks come out. And my one friend, she was getting calls like daily from people asking her to sell her house.
Really?
Do you want to sell your house? I'm sure that's such a burden that you have to, let me represent you.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you're going through. And let me help you sell your house. Like daily she was getting phone calls like that.
So like your role, you can kind of be a filter for some of those things. First of all, like the widow's just saying, I don't know if I should sell. I've got these emotions to the house, but there's some of the emotions are good, some are bad. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And then like that question alone, the emotional question's hard. I mean, we can't resolve that on like in a financial engagement. We can wrestle with that together, but we can at least maybe resolve the economics of it of, hey, if you sell your home, you're going to get this much cash and you can do this with it. And that at least kind of gives some framework.
Right. We can help answer the question, do I have to? And then you get to tackle the question, do I want to? Right. And then what are the trade-offs that you get with it so that you're not making that fear-based emotional decision? You can make a logical decision as best as possible.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to tell people who are listening, if you know somebody that's a widow, whether just recently or it's been a while, I do recommend that you connect them with Haley. Haley does have a heart to serve that community and kind of talk through these issues. What are some of the unique features that Lola is Loss of Life Advocates? They're a group that's been a resource for us to be able to learn and glean from. Is there anything that you learned from them that you could speak on? Was it, or just general nature? They gave you a lot of insight into how to communicate.
Yeah, Esther has so many connections, and so she's connected me with a bunch of people in the community that help, whether it be from planning your own funeral in the future.
Yeah.
Right. But also legal counsel. So we have legal people that we refer out to because you need to make sure that your will is now up to date. All your beneficiaries are designated properly. That you have a medical power of attorney because now your spouse is no longer there to step in that gap. Who's going to be that person for you if you get in a serious accident and you're, who's going to say pull the plug or don't?
Yep.
So do you have a medical directive? She's also connected me with people that do placement for assisted living or independent living, memory care, things like that. So it just depends on the stage of life that the widow is.
That's a really great point because, I mean, not only, I know this sounds like a Haley commercial, but I'm a Haley fan, but not only are you helping them navigate these financial items, being a thinking partner, but you're also pointing them in the right direction, being a resource. That's good. And I didn't think about that too. So you often think of a widow, okay, I just need to pay my bills. Do I sell the house? Do I not sell the house? Those are just big decisions. But the down the road decision that has to be thought of, okay, now my kids don't live in the same city. Who's going to take care of me if I have Alzheimer's, right?
Right. Yeah.
How do I pay for it?
Yeah. My mind's running thinking about all the different widows that I do work with. And one has 3 kids that live in different places and she doesn't have a house right now. She's living, and so deciding where she wants to live, she's just pausing, right, until she knows where's the best place between all of my kids that I want to be as I grow older. And I have another widow who was trying to decide, okay, I have investment properties. Do I buy another one? Or should I take that money and invest it in the market instead? And
that's if you're comfortable that that could be an option, investing in properties. But that's just something you just have to be comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Do any of them, when you think about it, do any of them have to go back to work, like the ones that you're working with now, or is there enough resources?
I have not had one yet that has had to go back to work. But that comes with trade-offs, right? How are you going to live? Are you going to live extravagantly or are you going to live within the means that you do have? So there's those trade-offs that you have to decide what's most important.
And even then, it may be you don't have to work today, but you might need to work tomorrow.
Right. Today might be about making sure the kids are okay and getting them through high school and into college.
Yeah.
And then once they're in college, then maybe if you want to go back to work, you can focus on going back to work. But right now is grieving and getting the kids through this phase where we're at.
And
Not
do you,
phase, but
do you help with some of the life insurance stuff, like the claims?
we can for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And analyzing, does it make sense to leave the money in the life insurance policy? I have one that is looking at that versus do we move it out and put it in other investments that could have a better rate of return?
Yeah, because the life insurance companies, they tend to offer something to retain the money there.
Exactly.
So just kind of wrestling with that. And then do you have a tool that can help them think about how to spend money, like a budget tool?
For sure. We do use our cash flow worksheet and look at making sure their needs are covered versus what are their wants, and then talking through the wants. How important are those wants, and then plugging it into the tools. And
Yeah, because there's in that cash flow worksheet, I think we have a link in the website. We may or may not, but if not, Haley at paxfg.com. But it's wants and needs are separated, and it becomes a good conversation piece to say, okay, you need $5,000 a month, and where's this money coming from? And Social Security is not going to necessarily be there at 45 if your kids are on their own. You've got that widow's blackout period.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about that?
Well, when you have kids in the home 16 and under, the kids will get Social Security until they turn 18 or graduate high school, and then there's no widow support from Social Security until age 60.
Yeah, so that's the widow's blackout.
Yep.
So like you go, okay, it's funny because it's not funny, but the Social Security Administration knows that somebody died like right away, and so they cut that check off.
And not only do they cut it off, but they'll like pull it back out of your account. If they already deposited it that month, they'll take it right back out.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And then you're a widow, and then you've got this. You're like, okay, well, now I'm in this widow's blackout period, and that could be a surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had one client whose husband died when she was 59, and she was like, dang it.
Right.
Because she had to
wait.
Wait. And she wasn't working. And so then it's just, okay, where's that money coming from? How am I going to be? Am I going to be okay?
And then health insurance too.
And health insurance. That was another one.
Because you get Medicare at 65, but let's say, and we're using a lot of widows versus widowers.
I do have one widower.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know we have several clients.
Absolutely.
And, but yeah, the idea is to get Medicare at 65. And if you've lost a spouse and they kind of took care of the health insurance, we've got to solve, and we can solve that problem for them, but that's a tricky one too, making sure we have adequate health insurance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the little nuances.
It is very nuanced. Every situation is unique.
Everyone's unique. And then it's so just, our hearts are heavy, to walk through those periods. And yeah, we've seen over the years doing this, I've seen some pretty traumatic losses of spouses, and it's been very hard. I've been to funerals, and
the ones that are often a surprise is the caretaker. So if one person got physical limitations or mental limitations and they're being cared for, often the caretaker is the one who goes first because of the stress.
Oh, wow.
And so that comes with all kinds of other things.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And you better get your stuff together if that's the situation, like making sure that those trust and wills are locked tight, because
it's been a big motivator for me to work with other married clients to talk about, hey, we sincerely need to get your ducks in a row. I know we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, but I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
like we really need to get this, because if one of you goes, the other one's going to be left, and things, especially with blended families.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
You may think if you have your IRA and your spouse is 100% beneficiary, and then you go before them, but you had kids from a separate marriage, your child is not going to get anything.
Yep. That's a great point.
Because it's going to go to the spouse, and then if they leave it, it'll go to their kids.
It goes to
unless
their kids,
you have a will in place that says something otherwise, or unless you have it designated properly on your
All those little things.
nuanced.
But your point is well made. Not only are you working with widows, but this experience that we've had in you working with these widows, it translates to those that need to prepare.
Speaking about blended families or divorcees, even, that's something that we've also seen where someone will leave their 401k at work to their child who is a minor.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't
then
work. Yeah.
they die and their child is still a minor and they go to their spouse, their ex-spouse. And now their ex is the one that gets to say how that money is divvied out. And do you really want your ex being the one in charge of all of that money?
A lot of important beneficiary planning
For sure.
thoughts. Yeah.
For sure.
And I'm sure every meeting you check off the beneficiary or whatever your rhythm is, but making
Yes.
sure the beneficiaries are right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had one that one of my ladies had received, not a widow, but she had received an inheritance from her father, but the beneficiary of it was her current spouse who was not her kid's father.
Okay.
And she was saying, well, I want that money that I received from my dad to flow through to my kids.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we need to fix the beneficiaries because
Yeah.
if something happens to you, it's going to your husband whom you love dearly and it's wonderful, but that's not what you want to happen with this money. So let's fix that. So yes.
That's a perfect example of we're just too busy in life, got a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
going in, and having somebody like you walking alongside, making sure, I really appreciate, we're almost landing the plane. Can you believe that?
Thank you.
Yeah, you've done great. So when we think about this community of widows, and let's say somebody's listening and they just lost their spouse, what would you tell them, like their first step financially, if anything? And maybe do nothing, but
It's pause.
yeah,
It's pause. Get solid, good advice from someone you can trust because you're not thinking straight. You can't. You're grieving. You can't. You're not thinking straight. And just pause. Don't make any big decisions without thinking through the ramifications and have someone going through and helping analyze it with you.
oh, that's good.
Just pause.
Are there any community resources that you would recommend, like at some churches that?
Gosh, there is grief recovery that is offered at several churches.
Okay,
It's Verse by
good.
Verse Fellowship, CBC. One of my widows actually does it. He leads it.
Oh, facilitates
He
it?
facilitates
okay,
it,
good.
yeah. And that's not just for someone who's lost a loved one. It's any kind of grief.
Yeah. Now you're on the board of who now?
I am on the board for the Children's Bereavement Center of South Texas for their foundation.
Yeah.
So not for the center, but for the foundation, which is focused on legacy giving. So making sure that there is legacy money coming in to continue the work of the Children's Bereavement
But tell
Center.
people as we wrap this up, because it's kind of tied in, but not tied into the idea of serving people who've lost somebody. But tell us what the Bereavement Center does.
They offer free counseling services for people that have children in the home, ages 2 to 24, 22, pardon me, I'm not sure on the high end, but they walk through grief with the children. It's mainly the children. They have support things that they do for the parents as well. But if you had someone die and there's a kid in the home, ages 2 to early 20s, you can call the Children's Bereavement Center and it's free counseling. And
Well, thank you for
It's
serving in
extended.
that community too.
it's a great cause.
Yeah.
It's a great group of people.
Well, thank you for all that you do. This is really powerful. Is there a quote or scripture you might be able to?
I forgot you were going to ask me that, and I didn't.
If not, no big deal.
I mean, there's always Romans 8:28,
Oh,
right? God
yeah.
works all things for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose.
Yeah, that's
And
wonderful.
there's Jeremiah 29:11, right?
Yeah.
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Plans to prosper you and for hope for your future, not to harm you.
Yeah, those are good.
That was not exact.
No, that's
But,
good. Thank you so much. I'll just leave it at that. But thank you so much, Haley, for joining me and sharing kind of what you're doing for the community. It's really important work. It's God's work. So thank you.
Thank you for asking.
And all of you who are listening to that stayed to the very end, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to share this episode with your community. And remember, you think different when you think long term. Have a great day.